So it'd be good to hear about your experience of free software, Jen. Is it truly free?
Well, nothing's truly free. As they say, there's no such thing as a free lunch. From my experience, they are not free in multiple ways. Free tools mean that you have to carry the load yourself. There's very little support, and sometimes that load can be very taxing.
I think for me, whether it's a free solution or an enterprise solution, the concept of free is a bit of a misnomer. Whilst a free solution might have no licensing costs, there is never a free implementation. Mm-hmm. The better solutions out there are more toolboxes than sort of plug and play solutions, which requires thought and effort and knowledge in order to deploy those in a way that you can manage and use them moving forward. So for me, as we said, there is no such thing as free solutions.
Mm-hmm. And what impact did free software have on you personally, Jen?
The impact of using free software was that it was never easy to deploy anything. And if it's not easy to deploy something, then it means that I have to spend more time at work finding ways to make that solution function, which literally means time away from my family beyond normal working hours, which after a while becomes unacceptable, both to myself and the business. Because as we know, if we work too many hours, then we become unproductive because we're working hard, not smart, to use the analogy. It would also impact my mood when I got home, because if you feel like you're firefighting all the time, it doesn't put you in the best of moods. So I would find myself walking in the door and then needing to vent about said problem to my poor husband for half an hour before I could switch off. You know, we smile and it sounds like a joke, but that's the reality of working with something that doesn't have support and doesn't have defined management of that software that is facilitated by the vendor.
And for me, I would say it's more on the business side. It's my previous role, as I said, was around the governance and the controls and use of the tools. Free software, as everyone knows, they're really easy to sign up to, and the nature why they're free. You have to tick to say you've read the terms and conditions. How many people read those terms and conditions, realistically? And that, from a global organisation, is a bit of an issue. Yeah. You can't just tick a box. It needs to be read. That's the whole reason why they have them there. That's the whole reason why enterprises have legal teams, have procurement teams, to make sure that they do know what the product does, they do know what they can and can't do with it. And as I said, for me, free software meant that we're often chasing tools that were deployed or being used that hadn't gone through the rigour that they needed to go through.
What resistance did you face when you attempted to transition? Did your people understand that free does actually come at cost?
I don't think they did at the time, because there isn't a massive difference between the functionality, and it's not like you look back on it and go, oh well, I remember 2 years ago that it took me 6 weeks to deploy this tag, or I recall that this workaround is perhaps not optimizing our website. You know, all of this stuff is not necessarily as visible as you think it is, and a lot of people have built their whole roles around supporting these free tools, and they feel that there won't be a role for them if you transition onto a paid platform. But for me, it's not about replacing resource, it's about making sure that that resource is used in the best way possible. If I've got a very talented web manager or web designer, then I don't want them spending time on deploying tags. I want them spending their time creating a wonderful experience for our customers to engage with.
What convinced the doubters that paying for an enterprise platform solution was worthwhile?
For me, one of the other things was security. Mm-hmm. So knowing that you're working with a vendor who understands that they don't own the data, they are simply enablers of it. So you are not signing your data away into some big pot in a cloud somewhere so they can do aggregated analysis on it and then use that data for their other products. Tealium, it very much believes in first-party data, and the first party is the organisation, not us. So for me, obviously using a security angle at a security company was the way to go and it convinced people that using a platform that everybody could buy into globally would give us a better data framework to work with and less data silos to manage.
Mm-hmm.
I think from our side, again, when I was working at HSBC, we came from a slightly different space where we came from not having a solution. And then it was the question of, do we go down the free route or an enterprise solution? And it was, exactly as you said, it's the security, it's my favourite word is the governance and the controls around it. We have actually, at Tealium, we have a number of customers who join us who've come similar route to Jen, where they've had the free solution. It's taken them so far, but they need more. And that's less, I think, kind of free paid. That's more just the nature of the Tealium platform. I think it provides slightly more in that context.
And what was the impact from moving from a free resource to a paid platform enterprise solution?
Are we talking about my marriage or professionally? Obviously, moving to a paid platform, it's not necessarily that you're going to save time, although in my case it did, because I wasn't running around trying to firefight and trying to build workarounds on workarounds. The biggest benefit for us was consistency of data, being able to work with a platform that works with 1,000 vendors. Tealium's IQ platform is very agnostic, and I found that with free tools they weren't so much. So they would have a list of MarTech vendors that they would integrate, but it was a much shorter list. So when it came to adding something through an API or some other method, it would get complicated to the point with one organisation where we had to abandon the whole project because we simply couldn't get it to work with the free tool. And then we were able to redeploy that with Tealium at a later date.
I think, again, my previous role, we weren't really looking to sort of switch from free to paid. It was more a case of reviewing the cost of free versus enterprise solutions. And I think for us, it was the controls and flexibility that we got through Tealium that sort of tipped the balance for us. And I think, again, as was mentioned, it's not to say that free tools are bad or you shouldn't consider them. They have a place. It does allow smaller businesses to get to a better place in terms of their data management, which is great. But I think we've actually seen there's quite a few people who've become clients of ours have come from free solutions but need more, but need more control, but need more governance, but need more marketing tags, and don't want to spend the time and effort developing it all themselves.
So in summary, what is the greatest benefit of working with a paid platform solution?
For me, I think it's the support, and I think that's on a couple of levels. So it's the support of the platform itself, and as you said, the ability to pick up a phone, it's broken, it's done, things not working, all the controls they've got there. It's support on the deployment, so again, whether you use a partner or whether you use the software vendor themselves, there should be a certain level of support there to either educate the end users, the partners, or help with the deployment themselves. And then support the account level. So being able to have those regular catch-ups, those regular conversations. How are you getting on? What are the problems? How can we help? All of those I think are really key. And that as a combined package I think is something that you see in abundance in an enterprise solution that you don't in free software.
Jen?
For me, it's very personal. Using free tools affected my time and my quarterly bonus in a bad way. So transitioning to enterprise platforms enables me to have to carry the load less. And if I have to carry the load less in terms of deployment, then I get to spend more time with my family, I become more productive in the office, happier in my role, all of that, that intangible stuff, but it's important. And in addition to that, if you can deploy technology quicker, then you can make a difference to the bottom line quicker, which meant that I could move the needle of revenue or profitability within a quarter quicker with a paid solution, because I can pick up the phone to somebody if it goes wrong and they can help me to find a solution. Essentially, I'm not on my own. I have a whole team of people supporting me. And unless you're a massive blue chip company with a telephone number directly into one of those organisations that provide free tools, I'm afraid you are on your own, and for me that is the true cost of free.